Hello, hello. A very good afternoon, good day, good morning to you all. Welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to be taking our first flight in the Airbus A330 ever on the channel, and also one of our first flights, our second only stream in X-Plane 12. It's of course the default Laminar Research X-Plane 12 A330. We're finally picking up those passengers. Those of you who watched the stream a little while back, I flew the A319 in Manta Sun colours from, I think it was from Gatwick, was it? Down to Ibiza was the plan, but we got waylaid. We had a few failures, including an engine failure somewhere over southern France, so we went into Toulouse. Well, we've sadly not obeyed our EU agreements, and we have unfortunately left the passengers here for what amounts to probably, was it 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months? A disgraceful amount of time. They'll be entitled to all sorts of compensation. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds each, I'm sure. But either way, we're going to now finally get them from Toulouse down to Ibiza. As a way of apology, we're going to provide them with a luxury long-haul aircraft so they can spread out a bit in the cabin instead of being crammed back into that A319, of which we were already carrying a dangerous number of people when we did it. So that's the plan. This livery, I need to actually, that was something I meant to do and I totally forgot. This livery has been recreated in X-Plane 12 on the A330 for us by, of course, none other than Paddy, who worked very hard. It's a really nice livery. We'll take a look at it in just a moment. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pin it to YouTube. So if anyone would like to use it, I have the link will now be available in YouTube, and I'll just pin that. There we go. So, welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us. Mika, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. And Ryan, it's great to have you here. Coming Cat, David Doyle, Andy H1302, thanks for coming along and moderating. I hope you're doing very well. Danny, Ralph, great to have you here. Hayden, of course, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Daniel, if I did say, Tux, Rimble, Duncan, Orlando, good to see you all here. Some from the US. It's quite early stream today, so apologies for that. To those of you who are used to the slightly later ones, it's just when I could fit it in today, I'm afraid, but there we go. Daniel B says, I assume Manta is your own virtual airline. It's not really a virtual airline, it's just a livery, a sort of a theme we use every now and then when we want to use our in-house. So there we go. Michael says, the only 330 with all business class. Exactly, yeah. That Cirrus Pilot, good to see you. That Cirrus Pilot says, this is perfect. I'm just recovering from the flu and I've been in bed for 3 days, so this is exactly what I need. No excuses for me not to be here in the entire sector. Thanks for coming along, that Cirrus Pilot. I hope you feel better soon. 350 Sim Pilot, good to see you as well. Thanks for joining us. Right, so let's take a look at this livery. So this is a livery this is the only livery I've ever come up with myself a long time ago now, back in 2020, in the giddy days of the pandemic, if anyone remembers what that is. So we this was just one I came up with. I think we were around 1,000. Were we even at 1,000 subscribers at the time? I can't remember. Not so many. Oh, and of course over on Twitch, good to see you. AC455, Wilco, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. PTN, I hope you're doing well at work. I hope we don't distract too much. Aaron, for 3 weeks, I would assume thousands of pounds. Indeed, I'm sure it would be quite a lot. Mr. Banana, good to see you over on Twitch and Jimbo. So we are on both YouTube and Twitch. Choose the platform that you prefer. I'll be, from now on, reading the comments from both at the same time. Yeah, so this livery was one that I came up with for the Toliss A321. That's the only aircraft that had worn it for a long time. I don't think any others have. This is the first time it's been put on here. We have other Manta liveries, kindly made by AC455 and Paddy, and we've had variations on those on different aircraft, which has been absolutely lovely to see. But this is the original one, and I remember revealing it. I do remember that moment, and yeah, I knew it would be quite a sight for everyone. But yeah, Paddy has sort of done a better job at it than I did on my original version with his livery skills. So if we jump into a different camera, there we go. Right, so Paddy of course has got the retro sort of airline icon up here at the front. Yes, of course, no, AC45, absolutely right, thank you. I do apologise. Yes, the 737 has the house livery, so that would be the Zibo 737 in X-Plane. And the CRJ, of course, and I made a video with the CRJ. So the CRJ is unusual for. I thought it had a variation on it, but it actually has the proper house livery, of course. Yeah, or a regional. No, it is it's the regional variation, isn't it? Yes. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, the Aerosoft CRJ. I really like that video I made of that. I did like a sort of showcase of it. So thank you for your hard work on all those liveries at AC455. But yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. But this one is a sort of refined version of the original. So it's got the retro logo there. Got the outline on the window guide. The line also flows a bit better than I've ever managed down here. I say my graphic artist. Same on the outline of the text. These little outlines, they do make a big difference to make it look a little bit more complete, like it could actually be done like that. Down on the engines, still an A320 on the engine logos. Again, really nicely overlaid. So that's worked really well, which is of course our full logo. The channel often I use half for thumbnails and things, but that's the full logo, as it were, when we have a chance for a banner. And then over on the tail, the Manta and XP X-plane. So this is GSM XP, which is just great. Yeah. Crucial detail, which I put on the original livery, is this. This is what Singapore Airlines do, and I think it's a great little touch. So instead of having the tail line, just the tail just pink, as it were, down to the fuselage, they actually, to make sure it's level, they put the blue line, or they extend the white onto the tail. So it's, I think, a nice detail you don't see very often, and I think it works really nice in the Singapore livery. So something I wanted on this livery. So there we go. Hayden J. Robbins, thank you so much for the £3.30 super chat. See what you did there, Captain. Onward to 70k subs. Thanks so much, Hayden. Really appreciate it. Indeed, we are creeping towards 70,000, unbelievably. So thank you so much for those of you who subscribed. Really, really appreciate it. Unbelievable. Didn't think we'd ever be here. So yeah, really, really great to see you all. So thanks for joining us. And yeah, thank you so much, Hayden, for that very kind donation. Thanks for supporting the channel so much over the last few years now. Oh, there goes a speedbird. So yeah, also 320 Sim Pilot signed at the front. That was never on my livery. That's a nice detail. I really like that. Yeah, so it's just lovely. And I think you agree. It looks really nice. I think it suits the 330 well. I know that the Manta 80s livery has been converted onto the A340, so that's one I would like to try soon as well. But I thought today it's a short flight, and I thought, well, what aeroplane? We need to get from Toulouse to Ibiza. What aeroplane would be good for that? And of course, I thought, well, for such a short flight, we could risk the default A330. Marina, howdy, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. MSFS Productions, I hope you're doing well. Oh, they like it. There you go. Yeah. Thank you. And thank Paddy's done the hard work, really, by putting it in with the extra details, I think, that put it together nicely. Andy says, as owner of both sims, I can safely say 330 is more functional than the stock unmodified A320 NEO in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Done full flights in both. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. Flying Cypher, good to see you from South Aviation. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this is yeah, so I wanted to use this aircraft, and I thought a short flight, we're going to go simple approaches. We're just going to test it out. They have been updating it. I've been updating X-Plane 12. It's the latest version I've got at the moment of the beta. It's a preview version, as it were. It's not a preview. It's an early access version. So don't expect anything to be perfect. It will not be perfect. It won't even be close to perfect. But that's not a surprise. But the reason I'm willing to stream it, I suppose, is that this was released by X-Plane, and they said, Lemon Research said, this is early access. So this is for you to help shape the simulator, right? They're getting feedback, and they're working on it and seeing where the bugs are and getting all this third-party software into the program. And you can see here we have ground services already running, better pushback and so on. And they're sort of letting this happen with the simulator, which is great news. So I thought, well, for a short flight, we're not going to be critical of it. We're just going to see what we think needs to be changed. And so that's why I'm here streaming it today, really. If they're willing to put it out as early access, then I think it's fair game to have a flight in it and see how it goes. But I'm not expecting any great things. However, it is a relatively detailed simulation in some ways. Crucially, the quality of the visuals, the external model, and the sounds are brilliant to me. I honestly think it's as good as a payware in terms of the visuals and the sounds. They've done just such a great job. The avionics, which is, we know, the hard part, is good in some areas. Excuse me. Good in some areas like hydraulics, not so good in others like basic autopilot, especially the autopilot. That is a particular. I mean, I find it harder to use than I think than other people, because I suspect what's happened here, and I'm totally speculating here, but the autopilot feels like it's been put together in relation to a sort of more standard autopilot. As a result, it doesn't quite work in the Airbus sense all the time. Now again, Airbus's avionics are hugely complicated, and they've been perfected over decades, so I wouldn't expect it to launch as a default aircraft with a perfect suite of Airbus avionics. But I just think it's just quite interesting trying to use it for me, especially because I'm so used to the Airbus way of doing things now. So that is something that we're going to have to push our way through. Again, not a criticism. I wouldn't have expected it to have working avionics at the same level. But there we go. You do wonder, I'm sure that there'll be it's a prime target, isn't it, for some sort of freeware modification, this aircraft, like the default 737 became the Zebo mod and so on. You can't help but wonder if there is a way for Toliss's avionics to come into it. But then, of course, Toliss is a payware company, so that would create issues, I imagine. But anyway, let us jump into it then, and we'll struggle our way through. It's you're going to hear me say it doesn't do that in real life a lot, but there are things I don't know. I don't fly the 330. I never have, so it's not something I can be completely authoritative on. Good, right? Well, that's enough talking. A flight time of about just under an hour. Now, of course, default aircraft, so I've loaded it all up with the weights in the sim, but it's not going to matter because we're not going to have any performance anyway, so we're going to just make do and see where we get through. It's using a default FMS, so yeah. Visually lovely aircraft, but nowhere near study level like the Phoenix Toulouse. No, it's not. It's not supposed to be. It's not. But it does look absolutely gorgeous. Right, into the flight deck then. We are on VATSIM. We will be talking to them. Actually, I don't know if anyone's around, but yeah, let's see if we can just power up the aircraft and get it going. So, well, we'll do the usual bits. So, I haven't got a checklist with me, but engine masters off. Oh, actually, let me put the controls in the right place. That would help. Engine masters off. Motivator to norm. Weather radar off. Yeah, that can go off. Oh, no, it can't. Landing gear lever down. Wiper selectors are off. Batteries, slightly different format here. Doesn't seem to display. I'm pretty sure it should display already because the three. So our closest representation is the Toliss 340. And also, we do know that this liquid crystal display works in the 320 even when the batteries are off. But there we go. Batteries on. Guessing the AP battery as well. Good. And that's brought some things to life. AP fire test. Is that somewhere up here? Oh, they've got rid of it. They're in a slightly different way. Auto extinguishing reset. Ooh, don't want to press anything too dodgy. No, you can't press it anyway. That's good. That saves me the trouble. But see, there are some great little details. You know, they've modeled the cockpit so nicely. The reading lights. Look at this seat, by the way. Look at the detailing on it. Now the flight decks are still too dark. We do know that's a recurring thing in X-Plane, but there we go. Oh, there's a lot of systems off. Don't like the look at that. Anyway, AP fire test we'll say we've done. Put the external power on. Some great sounds. Let me know if the audio works and you can actually hear what's going on. Vipero says, what do you think of the flight dynamics in X-Plane 12 compared to Microsoft? Yeah, in Microsoft, it's down to the aircraft. Some aircraft handle great, some less so. That's all I can say about it, really. So in X-Plane, I find, in general, they handle... I expect an X-Plane aircraft to handle well. In Microsoft, I think it can vary between the aircraft. So, yeah, I know that's not a great answer, but that's where I'm at with it. So, I think both have the same capability. I think you can have either sim feeling very nice, but some of the aircraft in Microsoft perhaps don't, compared to some of the ones that maybe in X-Plane do more easily. I don't know if it's more easy or whether it's how much time was spent developing it. I don't know. Petrify says, hey man, I really want to be a pilot, but I feel like it will feel too hard for me and I'm not really good at school. Is it still possible? You don't need to be very, very smart. You just need to be hardworking. So keep at it. Yeah, we don't use any complicated maths or anything like that flying airplanes. You need to know a little bit, but you'll get, it's nothing too shocking. So just keep at it. But you don't need to be super intelligent to be a pilot. No doubt about that. You just need to be conscientious and hardworking enough to be able to study the required bits. Right, where was I? So we've done the batteries. I don't actually have a checklist sitting here with me in any shape or form. Batteries on, external power on, AP fire test, external power, oxygen, well that's not working. We do have hydraulic systems modelled in here, which are working. And we can go to, the oxygen didn't work. Oil, that'd be another one that we want to check. We can't check the oil without the FADEC turned on. Now, strangely, they've turned off everything. I'm sure this stuff wouldn't be left off. ADRs don't get turned off. Yeah. We'll put those into nav now, which is actually what you do in the 320 these days. Yeah, I mean, I don't think many airlines would turn off the hydraulic pumps on turnarounds. So we'll just turn all of this on. I don't know how much impact this has. They did model a lot of the hydraulics, they said, in their sort of videos before release. So let's see what happens. You certainly don't turn off flight computers. Because why would you when the risk is, of course, that the someone's going to not turn them on. You would get a warning in the Airbus, no doubt. This is X-Plane 12, indeed. Indeed it is. Goods, yeah, again, more things that should be on. Cruise pilot, that would have been off, actually, to be fair. Goods. Generators. Oh, no, look at that. Yeah, all of this should be on. Right, that's a more realistic looking situation. Still can't see the oil, so that would be a FADEC switch, which is on the 320, hidden up here. No, not here. Let's see if we can spot it. FADEC override or something like that. Leak measurements. Hydraulics. FADEC ground power, there it is. No, sadly not. Sadly not. There we go. Anyway, I could just put the master switch to ignition, which would also power the FADECs, but there we go. We have enough oil, so let's turn that off. Not an acceptable procedure to do that. Great. Lovely stuff. So then we would check the flaps at 0, speed brake lever, retract disarm, parking brake handle is on, and the accumulator pressure is all good. Just about. Don't know how you'd power that in this yellow pump. Yellow pump, would it be? That's off. Electric on. Let's see if that works. Tricky thing though, because of course I don't know if it's running on the yellow system in the... Oh, let's put the bus tire on. Running the yellow system on the 330. Oh well, that's staying on now, no problem. Maybe it's blue. No, maybe not. No matter. They're all going to be running now permanently. Ah, it's green. There we go. Green for the parking brake. It's yellow in the 320. Perfect. See? So they have modelled these things. It's nice. Aircraft's loaded. So what we can also do is we would, of course, go into the MCDU at this point. And see what we can see. Right. So nav data out of date shouldn't be, but there we go. Maybe I haven't updated it enough. Let's go to route menu. No. Route. So we're starting in Toulouse. Going to Ibiza. We do have normal charts, by the way. Of course, we have them here. Thank you for the subscriptions, Andy. Appreciate it. We're going to Ibiza, 286 miles, not far at all. We're going to go from, let's see what the weather is. So LFBO. Why have I got this? I've forgotten why this was happening. Someone did tell me last time. That's alright. So I'm downloading live weather. Let me just grab it on my phone. Light winds, 19 degrees, QNH 1023. So what we'll do, choose whichever runway we fancy. Our route is to go from, let's plug in the route. We're obviously going to go south, so let's try and take a southerly facing runway. Depends what everyone else is doing. Are they going from the, is that north facing? Don't mind me. All things I should have done earlier. So we're here. Yeah, let's go south. Let's go for 1-4 left. I think that's going to work. Let's just see what the SIDs are like, because they could come back round on themselves if there's terrain. I think there is terrain around there. And when you want to depart via... Park brake accumulator is blue in the 330, says Crispy Chips. Okay, so maybe they got that wrong. Or maybe I've done something wrong. Almost certainly in my setup there. We're going via Pumal. Pumal. So yeah, straight out. That's going to work in our favour. Although above 2.5. Oh, and the 5 Bravo. Yeah, we're not in 5 Bravo, so we don't need to be above 6 at that point, because we wouldn't manage that straight out. Then we go to the Tango Sierra, and there's no terrain until way out at Ribot. So that's fine. So let's go for 1-4 left. That's going to be suitable, I think. Does this work? I don't know the default. Yeah, no, never works. I never successfully type in the runway. Any of the FMCs. The Habitat doesn't grab the meter in 12, just use flight order 24. Okay, thanks, Andy. Yeah, there we go. That makes sense. Good. So let's stick in the departure. 14 left. Puma 5 Alpha. Execute. Yeah, don't. This is nothing like an Airbus, of course. Good. So Pumal. Oh, there we go. Flight number MXZ222. The new Manta call sign. After Pumal, we are going per November 859 to Barcelona. Then we're taking Upper Zulu 174 to Corda. Should all be familiar. This is exactly what we were trying to do last time. And then the Corda for November. So execute, arrival into LEIB. Expecting the 24 Zulu via Corda for November. Gizlu, I think, executes. So there we go. If we go to plan, is it going to work? Yes, it is. Look at that. So already, things that I like about the default 330. It's not going to surprise you, this. They've got the look right. This looks like an Airbus. Things don't behave like an Airbus all the time, but things do look like an Airbus, and this is a nice thing. So, you know, like that, I can go to plan. I don't think, yeah. So this is some of it works, some of it doesn't. But still, it could be, and it has been worse in other simulators at launch, and this one hasn't even officially launched. It's slightly, you know, saying it's early access is a good way of doing it. I suppose if Microsoft could have done that as well when they launched theirs. However, I would say, of course, we know that Laminar Research is a smaller studio than Microsoft is, so we can give them a bit of slack there. TCAS is working already as well. How interesting. Now, that's not what TCAS normally looks like. That's a bit of an interesting way of displaying it, but still, it's displaying, which is quite interesting. And I'm sure terrain's not going to work. Sure. Oh, terrain on. Let's see if that comes to life. Anyway, so that is the route. Initref, I don't think anything else works in here. It's literally, we're just going to use it for the route. It did say about VNAV. I don't know why. Yeah, 250 to 10,000 feet. Climbing at 7.4. Transition altitude, that'll be about 6. Or what is it actually? We don't need to make it up. It's 5,000 feet down in Toulouse. And there we go. Okay. Cruising at. We are going to cruise at. 370. 5370. Okay, fair enough. I think that's all we can do in here. Duncan says, I'm watching the stream on an A319. Wanted to have a more authentic experience. Well, this, sadly, is not going to be a very authentic Airbus experience, but there we go. Thanks for the follow to GFX. 8445 says, got to head out. Hopefully back before descent. Thanks, 8445. We'll see you later. Who knows how long it will take me to get going, if I even manage. We'll put the flight directors on. There we go, eventually. And let's check out the SID. Thankfully, it's pretty much a straight line. But it did code it, so I think it would have managed. We're going out above 2,500 feet, which it has got. It's just written in green. And then we're going to go down to Galdo via the Tango Sierra. So that's all coded correct. That's nice to see. Kelpie, thanks so much for your $15 super chat. Really appreciate it. Kelpie says, sorry I'm late, but thanks for the stream. Hope nothing crashes. Thank you, Kelpie. Really appreciate it. No problem being a bit late. I was a bit late starting anyway. But really, really very kind. Thanks so much for the super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. We shall see how this goes. Let's go down to 7.0. But look at this. Little things like that work. You can set 7.0 and hundreds. It's all nice. Now, that light shouldn't be on yet. It should already be in nav. Or it should arm nav, sorry. So that shouldn't be green. So, you know, this is where, in particular, this is where it unravels a little bit. I'm going to go for a flat 2 takeoff, and I'm totally making up the performance, so I'm just going to go for 150 knots and toga flat 2. I just think that's going to work in an Airbus. I have no reason to believe that. I have not got a 4090. I'm afraid, Mike P. I only have a 3080. But there we go. Right. So I think we're pretty much there. I mean, now let's get the aircraft ready itself. So we'll start up the APU on R. Oh, what does that mean? I know there is some differences in the APU. Oh yeah, we didn't finish all of our overhead flow. Seatbelt signs on, everything's loaded, strobe lights to auto, nav lights on, that's all off, that's good. So look, those switches go to the right position, that's great. It's too gloomy in here though, so let's get the dome light on. That didn't work. Let's sort of done those storm lights for some reason. There we go. That's hopefully better for you guys to see. Once the AP is available, we can get rid of that. No more white lights left on the overhead. I know we're running a lot of hydraulics, but that's not an issue. Let's get better pushback started. So we're going to go that way.
Run to cockpit. Blood on knowledge. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Oh.
Run to cockpit.
So they're going to arrive. Pips is thanks for trying the 330. Wonder how she flies in systems and model. Yeah, so some of the systems, like we've already seen, the FADEC power on and off does work. Now, it's not exactly perfect. You know, the system would stay powered for a little while and things like that. Or you can use the overhead switches. But still, it's not unreasonable. It's a good effort. Like oxygen should be displayed there. But these are all things that they'll fix over time, I'm sure. So that's a door page automatically. But look, the hydraulics are there. Powered up because we've got the green-yellow pump. Ah, the others have turned off. Okay. I'm not managing to turn it off properly, though. Yeah, well, we won't get too worried about that. Right, AP is available. Ground power off. AP bleed on. Did the bleed page work? There it is. Look at this. Very nice indeed.
Okay.
Thank you again, Kelpie, for the very kind donation. And Avitech, thanks for the follow. Uri says, why don't they stick an A320 MCDU temporarily? They don't have one. This is default X-plane, so they've never made an Airbus. This is their first Airbus. So they've gone for the 330, and I think they've done a beautiful job with some parts of it, definitely. Right, let's get rid of the ground handling. Oh, lovely Manta livery on the ground handling. Absolutely love that. So we actually had quite a good operating base here at Toulouse, luckily. 350 Sim Pilot says, tried an engine start on external air from Phoenix last night, only to find there's no option for external HP air. Yeah, no, I don't think the Phoenix has high pressure air yet. So they're all driving away. Let's run our checklist. Let me just check all the obvious things. So those are idle. Ground's ready to go. Good, so copy prep is completed. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs are on and auto. ADIS are in nav. Fuel we have, I wanted about 15, we got a bit more, 18 tons, that's fine. More is better, I'd say, with aircraft at this experimental. Takeoff data, now, none of this is set, so I put a V2 of 150 knots in there, because there's no other way to do it. So we're going to rotate at like 145 and go at 150, and we'll see how that works out. We're quite heavy at 203 tons, but I don't really know what's heavy for a 330. Barra F, we're on 1023, 400 feet elevation for Toulouse. Worth checking. What's the elevation of the airport? And more to the point, where do they write it on these charts? Airport elevation, 500 feet. So that seems about sensible. Good. Right, next is our little flow. Let me just check there's no ground we need to discuss anything with. No, there is a Barcelona centre, so that's good. So 1228. Oh, my radio panel hasn't come to life. Disaster. 1228. Good. Toulouse ground, Manta 222, pushing back, stand Echo 30, facing northwest. Right, little flow then, beacon on, transponder to auto, oh it already was, whoops. And we've got thrust levers are at idle, windows and doors are all closed. Look at the modelling in here and the texturing, just lovely, yeah. Good, right, we can go. So let's release the brake. Start the clock. Clock works. It's nice. Pilot Luke says, this should be a great break from studying my final module of ATPL exams next week. I watched a clip of your food planning as it helped with the flight planning. Well, I always say not for real world use, but thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Pilot Luke. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. There we go. 330 on the way. Oh, just beautiful. Just such a good model. They got the screaming pack sound as well, if you listen. Yeah. Spot on. Oban says, first time seeing X-Plane 12, actually decent. Yeah, honestly, it's... Decent's a good way to put it. Yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised with it. I wasn't as hopeful. My expectations were lower. And I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean that's where I was. Look at that, you got the APU exhaust at the back. The default airports, by the way, look at this. This is just what the airport looked like You get vehicles, you get all sorts. Right, let's see how the engines start up. Oh, by the way, I have some camera views ready. Look at this. Just great. Ahmed says, first flight for me tomorrow, Diamond 42. Excellent. That's a lovely airplane to have a first flight on. 230 tons Mac takeoff weight for a 330, depending on general. Oh, okay. 330, 300? We're a bit heavy, perhaps. We could lower that in flight if we need to. I can't believe we could be too heavy with 17 tons of fuel. Right, starting up the engines. So let's start with 2. By the way, my TCA does work on these. Took a little bit of work, but they do eventually work. No, where's the chrono? No, we found something that doesn't work. We'll do this one.
Set parking brake.
Brake sets park. Let's get rid of the hydraulic page. Sorry, the lead page.
Toulouse traffic, Alpine 11 Tango, pushing back onto Tango 51, and that's Toulouse.
This says ground handling looks pretty nice too on X-Plane 12. Yep, agreed. X-Plane's always had nice ground handling. I absolutely love the audio on these engines. Spot on. And he says, I do like the amount of defunct liveries and extinct airplanes on the ramp. Yes, agreed. Doesn't exist. I've not heard of. Never seen a Delta CRJ. Well, that's good. Air France is good. Yeah, don't see those anymore. Don't see Syrian anymore. Oh dear. Don't see that anymore. That livery or aeroplane. But there we go. Right, starting up engine number 1. So this time I'm going to take a look at the... should default to engine. There we go. Let's take a look at the page. So, lead line valve open. Yep, turns N2 first. N3 as well. So N3 first, in fact. And you don't get that. There's different. Must be an extra stage on these engines. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Pressure's increasing. EGT staying level at 18 degrees. Ambient temperature, pretty much. Next, we want to see fuel flow. There it is. So EGT should rise shortly after. Otherwise, we're just chucking fuel into an engine, waiting for it to catch fire, which is never a good plan. So that's worked. Ground crew have all gone. We've waved goodbye to them. Nice. Nice. Engine start sequence is all here. Screens here. Valves are there. Yeah, not bad at all. Sense tank feeding. Well, we don't have anything in there. I don't know what this means. It's beyond my knowledge. Good, so there we go. Don't think it's going to give us an available message, but it's all there. The generator is online, so I'm going to take that as the end of the start sequence. Back to norm. APU bleed off. APU off. The ground spoilers. Now, someone did tell me how to do this, but I don't know how that was. Someone said there's a click spot, but I have never made the ground spoilers arm properly. They work on my TCA, and there's a little grab. Anyway, despite that, we shall center the rudder trim. We're going for flaps 2, and let's put that over the legs on there. Daniel Reese, sorry to say I'm blocking taxiway. No problem at all. And we'll run the upside checklist. So, anti-ice is off. Ecam status is checked. Pitch trim, we don't know, so we're going to go with... It's set to nose up. That makes me a bit nervous. I'd probably prefer it around 0. Oh, I see. No, that's at the end of the green. All right, we'll put it in the middle of the green then. 0 is more of a 320 thing, I suppose. We'll put it back where it was. Pitch trim and rudder trim is at 0. That's the after checks complete. Good. Toulouse traffic, Manta 222, taxiing in turn, runway 14 left. Right, we're in turn. Turn off lights, taxi lights. Now, it's a bit gloomier than I hoped. I thought the sun would be a bit higher, but there we go. While we wait, let's do our flight controls. Oh, that would look better from here. There we go. Look at this. That's great. And we'll check it down here. All works on that screen.
Toulouse traffic.
Pleasantly surprised so far. This is all
Alpine
proving
1
quite
taxiing
straightforward.
runway
I'm very happy with
14
this.
left,
4 up is the normal trim to 350. Thank you very much. There we go. We'll put it back where it was. I mean, I don't know if this is modelled in the same way. Mr. Banana says SAS still use the CRJ on Copenhagen Hamburg. Oh, there we go. I'll stop saying it there. Right, brakes released. My favourite sounds. I hope you guys can hear the audio.
Target 404, stand 59, pushing back.
Love that noise. Right, let's do a brake check. Well, this could be something with the way we've messed around with the hydraulics. There's no status page, which would imply that everything's fine, but these needles shouldn't move on the 320, and I'm assuming that check is the same. Anyway, we'll disregard that for now. It's a great noise, isn't it? Trent 700s, there we go. We are pretty heavy. It's struggling to move, 203 tons. So spoilers, I still can't arm the spoilers. Click spot is right on top of the speed brake handle. 2 arrows should appear. Ah, there we go. You have to hold down the left mouse click. Thank you very much. That's a relief. Auto brake to max. There we go. Takeoff complete test. That's all good. We're going to follow our colleague out this way. Now somehow that's deployed the ground spoilers. We don't want that to happen. I'll have to work that one out in a second. Why is it deploying the spoilers? Oh, don't do this to us. They should. Go on, keep going down. Keep going. Oh, that's good. There we go. Okay, we're not going to fiddle with the ground spoilers anymore. There we go. Yeah, the sounds are just lovely. They are really good. Kelpie says the pit rate seems low. Okay, I've got everything set as normal, so I don't think there should be any difference. But, yeah, there's every chance there could be. I am going to put the heading bug round to 140, because I don't think it's going to behave quite as we expect. Wouldn't have to do this in the real aircraft, of course. Good. Right, we're going up to 7,000. 150 knots is in. We're going to go south, straight ahead, climbing 70, and then keep climbing before we reach the terrain on the other side. Going up to 370. That's the plan. Great news. Spoilers. Oh, we're going to try that again. No. They just come up again. It's doing that. It seems to be deciding that we are... It seems to be deciding we've landed and we want the spoilers. I think that's what that's coming from. A bit like the Dash 8 would. But that's no good for takeoff. Oh, unless... So there's some flawed logic somewhere in these ground spoilers. But I wonder if, when I set takeoff thrust, will they drop? Not enough. Oh, but the brakes did activate. There's some strange things going on here. There's some gremlins. So we're going to disarm the ground spoilers and leave them down.
Toulouse traffic, Alpine 11 Tango taking off 14 left, 2 mile 5 Alpha, Toulouse.
Oh, are you joking? I was looking today to see, because I thought the Dash 8 would be a good one for this flight. I was looking to see if it was ready for X-Plane 12. And it sounds like they've just updated it. That's excellent news. Excellent news. I look forward to flying the Dash 8 in X-Plane 12. Because I absolutely love that add-on. Okay, I've got a slight problem here in that I've got too many things on my desk. Right, before takeoff checks, flight controls we've checked. Flight instruments are checked. We're going QNH 1023. We're going to 7000. We're going south the other way. Briefing's confirmed. Flaps are config 2 green, and that's what we wanted. V1, VRV2 doesn't work, but we're going 150 and toga thrust, which is fine. ATC is set, and we'll put it to TARA. ECAM memo, takeoff. We've got one blue of the spoilers. We know why. We're going to disregard that. Load line, takeoff runway is 14 left. Camera crew signal are advised. TCAS is TARA. Engine start, we're leaving it normal. Packs are going to stay on. Right, before takeoff checks complete. Runway coming up here. There goes our colleague in front. Nice wing flex on the ground as well. Good to see. Now, this is a trick in Toulouse. You don't want to miss your turn, because if you go up there, there's no more runway. And you can't really get back very easily. You have to go onto the other runway, so it would be very embarrassing. So, let's get the lights on. They advise copy from X-Plane 11, reactivate, run skunk, crash update, and jobs are good, says Andy. That's brilliant. I'm going to do that soon. That's great. I really want to fly the Q400 again, but I want to fly it in X-Plane 12, obviously. Toulouse traffic, Manta 222, taking off, runway 14 left, straight out departure. Right, clear on the approach. We're ready to go. So we're going to take off exactly as we do in a normal Airbus aircraft. Let's see how it works out. Oh, Bond says, I mean, it's no Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I'd still buy this. There you go. Yeah. The graphics aren't the same as Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's no doubt about it. But it has some things, you know, it has a really powerful replay tool. Just things like that are all there and working. There is a big problem with the 330, which we're going to see shortly when it's in the air, sadly.
Toulouse traffic, top flight, 22 Charlie Delta, taxi runway 14 left, Toulouse.
Love that view. Okay. We are ready to go. Sensible flap speeds, we've got the fuel. Right, let's go. So, we'll just reset the clock. Takeoff. We'll do a rolling takeoff. Half side stick down. Love the sounds. Nope. Engine's running away from us slightly there. I'm not sure why. Ah, Mantoga. Oh, the audio. Just great. We have no SRS. We have got nav. Not an issue. 8200 knots, side stick to neutral. Rotate. Yes, you got in the air easily there. Positive climb, gear up. Pitching for about V2. We got the V2 not far off, I think. A few knots fast. Beautiful, what a machine. Right, acceleration. Nose down. Yeah, this is all Boeing stuff, having to settle this stuff. Let's go to flaps 1. And now you'll feel the twitching. We're going to go to 250. Luckily it's straight out. We do have an S speed, which is nice. Flaps to 0. We're going to go open to 7. No, it wouldn't do that. Autopilot 1. 250 knots. Thrust back. Ah, how interesting. Master warning. So we're now in climb thrust. It says open climb. It's not saying climb thrust. So let me. Those are in the climb gate. Let me read. Yeah, this is just the way the avionics are set up. How interesting it gave us that warning. How interesting. The flap limiting speed for flap 1, 240 knots. So the slats were still out at the time, and it gave us the warning, even though the PFD had moved it. Now that is accurate to the Airbus. That is a real problem with the Airbus. Well, not problem, but that's something you have to watch out for. Even if the PFD is clear, the warning will be generated by the actual position, not the PFD warning. And it sounds like that was modelled there. Very good. Right, we climb up to 370. Set standards. And let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, ground spoilers disarm. Nose gear lights off. We're on the way. Mika says, this plane is unflyable. I think this is where we're going to run into some automatics challenges. It should say, for example, 370 flight level. Love the exhaust. I do stand by. The exhaust in X-Plane 12 is the best exhaust in the industry at the moment in flight sim land. So any turbulence, and this is what you get. There's this jitteriness in the controls. I don't know where this comes from. I hope they can sort this out. Just dampen it. It's way too proactive. Should be able to push speed. That puts it into climb. See, they're relating the speed button to the vertical mode, which is not what it does. It does do that, but there's no vertical mode now. There we go. Thrust climb, open climb. Press enough buttons and we can make it look like we want. I wonder if I... No. Terrain should show up. Okay. The master warning. So the master warning there was the flaps. It was a flap overspeed, and it was probably genuine. What it was saying was you've gone to your flaps are still out, and they were still travelling. So the warning disappeared based on the lever position. I can show you that now. If I put the lever out, look at that. So very quickly, 1 and 0. So the flaps haven't had a chance to travel, so we're not overspeeding them. But it gives you the red line. But we don't get the warning because they haven't travelled, so they're not actually getting damaged. Now, you would never do that in a real aeroplane. You couldn't do it that quickly, and they do travel basically immediately. But yeah, it's just a good... It shows that the warning computer or whatever's generating the warnings in this have been thought about. Going to fly by hand all the way, says Kelpie. No, we're doing it right. We've got thrust climb, open climb, nav, AP1. So again, this does look like an Airbus. It does look like an Airbus. This heading bug needs to disappear. That shouldn't be there now. We're in nav mode. So if they can get rid of that, that'd be great. Status. We do have a status message. Avoid icing conditions. Okay. Well, that suggests something's wrong with the bleeds or some of our anti-ice. Interesting. Don't know where that's coming from, but there we go. Anyway, well above 10,000 feet. Let's accelerate. Oh, excuse me. Something like 300, I'm sure will be fine. Let the passengers out. Could have put those on. We can get rid of landing lights. There we go. When will they have the Airbus MCDU? I wish I knew. I wish I knew. So far, the two things I'd like to see change. I want to see this flight model. They've got to sort out the autopilot. And it's not just the autopilot, by the way. If I take out the autopilot, it's actually the way they're doing the Airbus fly-by-wire is obviously, it's too proactive. Something I'd like to point out is, see how I'm moving the flight controls and the aircraft is, the real Airbus will then hold the G-force and so on, and then it will retrim. What this seems to be doing is actually flying basically via the trim wheel, which is not what the real Airbus does. The trim wheel does not move like this in the real aircraft. It does move, but it's much gentler. You don't notice it because it will actually fly. The normal flight computers run through the normal flight controls. So there we go. Something I do like is that when you get a bit of speed up and you're like this, only the inboard aileron moves. Now, is that accurate? Has anyone been on a 330 in daylight and seen that? Now we're going fast because, of course, traditionally, or older jet aircraft, heavy jet aircraft, would have an internal aileron, 767, 747, these sorts of things. But Airbus never really went for that. But I wonder if this is their version of it, just using the internal part of the ailerons. Could be, could be. Right, autopilot back in. So it does seem to be able to pitch to the speed, which is good. So it is flying based on the elevator. No disconnect sound. No. No disconnect sound at the moment. Good point. Yeah, well spotted. Lusty, it's good to see you. Lusty says, hi everyone, hope you're well. Sadly missed the takeoff. How are we liking 330? Yeah, it's not. You're not about to go and start simming for a virtual airline in it. But at the same time, there's more here than there needs to be for a default aircraft at this stage, I suppose. But I would really like to see. Yeah, I want to see this jittering go away. It's the same on the rudder. You'll see there. Look at that, and the elevator. If an aircraft did that, you would ground it. It would not even. It would immediately turn around and come back again, because that's a terrifying idea. Arjun says, won't load relief stop you from overspeeding the flaps anyway? I don't know if the 330 has load relief. I know the 747 and Boeing, some Boeings do, but I don't know if the 330 does. So I couldn't answer that one, I'm afraid. Certainly the 320 does not. Giuseppe says, a Zebra-like effort is likely going to take a long time. There's no way the X-plane can generate that kind of large team working on something. That's what makes fly-by-wire special. Yeah, the fly-by-wire is remarkable, but Zebo, I suppose, is a project in X-plane land, and that did happen. I'd really like to, like I say, I think if they could just get Toliss avionics in here, you'd be sorted, wouldn't you? And look at the cabin, by the way. Talking about effort, look at this. I really didn't expect it to be quite so complete. For a default aircraft, this is the visual model is amazing, really amazing. What seats are these? Everyone have a guess. What airline are these seats from? I have a theory. Little cushions out. Look at that. Every seat has a model of a cushion. I mean, that must take up some resources. Adam says, did you add extra fuel? We did add extra fuel, yes, because I am nervous about what we might find out. There's no progress page. I'm not sure, but I wonder if we're just too heavy at 200 tons. Yeah, I think we're going to be too heavy. I think we need to reduce it, actually, to get back to the maximum landing weight. But I'm sure it won't. But we'll see what happens. Thomas Cook says, Alex. Condor says, James Wells. Yeah. But Mr. Milan says, did the in-flight magazine say Lufthansa? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I would have said Thomas Cook and therefore Condor, or one of those two in the old style of Condor anyway. And but it did say Lufthansa on the magazine. Aviation says Thomas Cook. Okay. Everyone agrees it's got to be that last Thomas Cook livery that's sadly no longer in the skies. It's all gone. Nice livery. Giuseppe says, I mean, it's likely going to come. It'll just take much longer than fly-by-wire is doing with the 320 because there won't be as many people interested in working on it. Yeah, fair enough. Smaller market share, I suppose, in X-plane. Mika reckoned EasyJet. No, I don't think so. I think EasyJet are they are grey, but then they have the little orange highlights. Yeah, Condor. Business reminds me of Lufthansa, says the greatest owner. Okay. We have a mixture. Oh. Look. A door opening. And by the way, that sound is spot on. Both aspects of that sound are spot on. So they have had access to an aircraft here, because that's perfect. That's the little magnetic latch you can hear. Just, yeah. Again, for a default aircraft. I've never been in the business class of a Lufthansa aircraft though, so I couldn't possibly be lucky enough to know what that's like. And that definitely says Lufthansa though, doesn't it? So, has anyone been on Lufthansa? Do they have the yellow stripes on their seats? I doubt it, because it does look like Condor. So I can't imagine they would. I'm not sure we're going to make it to our top of climb here. Oh. After Barcelona, there's a bit of a gap. Connect the dots. And let's bring up our charts. Like I say, short flight today, just to test out a few things, see what we think of it. I'm not seriously about to expect it to be something we'll be streaming regularly. I almost put this on Twitch, but I thought, we'll put it on YouTube. I thought it'd be good if people on YouTube could come and see it later, if they wanted to see what the 330 is all about. So, approach, no, arrival. Corda. Let me just check the weather isn't something to stop us. Lufthansa Business is the greatest element. There you go. Just loading up the weather for Ibiza. Oh, it's actually 0906 knots. Yeah, well, our ridiculous weight, that's what we're going to have to go for. So we will change that around. So it won't be the 4 November, it'll be the 3 Victor. Take us downwind. Beautiful, over the island. Now, when is Orbex's scenery going to come to X-Plane 12? I'd really like to see that. I'd love to use Orbex's islands, because they have great scenery for these islands. And then approach. Island Zulu 06. And then it's a small airport. We're not going to get too worried about where we park. Land off apron. We'll probably use the full runway, 2,800 meters. We're going to use the medium water rate for sure. Kelpie says, is the Phoenix more stable than fly-by-wire A320X? I feel every time I take off it crashes to desktop, but if it doesn't, I'm fine the whole flight. Oh, that's interesting. Is that which way aircraft? Is that in the 320X? I haven't flown a lot of 320X recently. I've done a video in the Phoenix, which was I had no trouble with the Phoenix, but I don't know about the 320X. And he says that default cabin is on par with better than some I paid for. Yeah, no, agreed. I think there's lots of parts of this airplane's visuals, graphics, and audio that are better than aircraft I paid for. But that's because we know that the really hard part is in those avionics. Now here's a question. Why, the sun is there, why is my aeroplane not lit up? I want answers. The audio is fine. It only sounds broken when I'm dragging the camera around a lot, I suppose. But I think the lighting's broken because that sun. Ah, Orbix scenery does work. Okay. Unofficially, you can port over scenery. Okay. The greatest analyst says, I've been on the 330. They did a spot on job. There you go. Yeah, it's. I'm surprised. We didn't have this trouble last time, did we? But yeah, my airplane should definitely be blinded with sunshine at this point. I was hoping it would look quite pretty. Again, they've done a great job with the lighting in general. This looks lovely. This looks lovely. The haze, the rivers, the lights, the sun reflecting off it, the way the mountains are lit up. Beautiful. But my airplane should be lit up too. Because X-Plane 12 sustaining. Aircraft in dark mode, says James. Yeah. It's a new form of sunshade, perhaps. I don't know why. I'm sure it didn't do this last time I flew. This must be the beta. Things are constantly changing. Because we flew the 319 and didn't have that issue. It looked beautiful. Very happy with it. I Love Bread says, wait, is this the default A330? Indeed it is. Graphics are all on high except SSAO. Ah, do you think... I'm not going to change the graphics. It's too risky. I haven't changed it since last time. But I think I've got the graphics set to SSAO or something like that. Not the full highest. 133025.
Straight ahead, stand 64.
Oh, we're going to have to do our call sign. I don't know if they won't know it, I'm sure. We're very quiet.
Barcelona, good afternoon. Alpine 11 Tango, flight level 330, inbound Excelta.
Alpine 11 Tango, Barcelona, hello, squawk 6203.
Squawk 6203 for Alpine 11 Tango.
Sandra says, what is your dream airplane to fly in real life and why? I've got too many. Let's put it as a Mac, by the way. That should be a Mac. No wonder we're running out of energy. Dream aircraft. I'd love to fly, if you're talking about airliners, 380, 340. But then I could also quite easily add 787. Would be a nice one to try out. Maybe that new 777. Control Manta 222, climbing flight level 370 to Zeppler.
Manta 222, Palma, hello, quarter 4 November arrival, squawk 6211.
Quarter 4 November, squawk 6211. Manta 222, thank you. Oh, that's good, then you are close.
Alpine 11 Tango, quarter 4 November arrival.
6211.
Quarter 4 November arrival, Alpine 11 Tango.
6211. Good, well now we might actually get to our cruise, or maybe not. Let's change over the arrival.
Climbing flight level 390.
Oh, we did the 4
Alpine
November.
2 Charlie Delta, hello, squawk 6216, quarter 4 November arrival.
So are they expecting us to land on 24 with a tailwind? We might struggle for that.
Squawk 6216.
6216, thank you, top flight 22 Charlie Delta.
Let's just check that we haven't got this wrong.
Scanning 17, figure taking the inner, continue inner.
No, 4 November definitely is for 24. Okay. 3-4 to butter machine definitely says the greatest thing. Vortex says, did you do modular or integrated? I won't say, just to keep a bit of privacy on that one.
Manta 222, report back number.
Sorry, say again for Manta 222.
Manta 222, report back number.
Currently Mac decimal 79 Manta 222.
Richard, thank you.
Yeah, Daniel B says controller's giving us 2 for the tailwind. Yeah, I might have to sort that out. Greater Saints looking forward to the Airbus A330. Yes, that should be nice. Ah, water is now transparent. Also needs modification so you can see sand or rocks below the water. Ah, interesting, interesting. Mike had a crash in the Phoenix. Restarted identical setup currently over Austria, heading to HESH. It's a lottery. Yeah, I don't have too much trouble with Microsoft, I must say, but I keep it very simple. Right, there we go. Out star. That's good. Almost at Barcelona. Heading out over the sea. Descending very soon.
Alpine 460 Tango, proceed to next meadows.
AIB 0805. Okay, 5 knot tailwinds. Thanks, Andy. Checkpoint, good to see you. Checkpoint says can't join today. Have family over All-Saints Day, Polish holiday. Enjoy. Thanks very much, Checkpoint. See you next time.
Top flight 22 Charlie Delta, Barcelona, identified, report back number.
Decimal 8, top flight 22.
ODG says, wouldn't you like to try an MD-11 in real life? It's cool. I'd love to fly a 3-engine airplane like that, but I don't know.
75, top flight 22 Charlie Delta.
I don't know if I'd like to try landing it, put it that way. In control for Manta 222.
222, pass your message.
Yeah, we're running quite heavy today, so we won't be able to take a tailwind into Ibiza. Is there any chance of 06?
And the 222, no problem. At your discretion, rocket 0 approved.
Apologies, we're requesting runway 06 for Ibiza, so the Corda 3 Victor.
Yes, just checking it. 0906 to is just changing, so give me a minute, we'll call you back shortly.
Great, thank you very much. I'm really struggling to hear the controller. I don't know what's going on. Let's turn that up a bit more. See if that helps. Loud sounds on this 330. Right, we're in the cruise. TCAS can go to below. Look at that, it works. Can't believe it. Bit of a systems check. Hot temperatures there.
Alpine 11 Tango, go ahead.
Yeah. So some of the electrics are not quite happy.
Runway 06, with a quarter 3 Victor reliable.
Runway 06, call the 3 Victor, Alpine 11
We're getting our way. We're getting our way.
Same for you, quarter 3 Victor, runway 06.
Thanks so much, Corda 3 Victor for 06 Manta 222. Either 006. I'm sorry, controller. Corda via Demev executes. Don't know why it's not connecting those itself. Right, let's just check that's going to do something sensible. It'll be a bit embarrassing otherwise. Remember, this is a default aircraft in early access, and we're taking it straight onto VATSIM, so we're pushing our luck a bit. There's no doubt about it. So, old pan. Yeah, it's not showing the constraints, but it does have the 4,000 above in here. Not how it would show, by the way. It would show you the expected altitude, not the restriction on that page. But there we go. Round it goes. Demev in. Now,
275 Roger, thank you on the conversion.
Does anyone know?
280 knots for the
Oh yeah, can we manage the speed yet? I mean, so speeds.
280 knots, okay,
No, that just seems to confuse things.
Hello, radar area 0275, now flight level 360 and now the Lampa.
Please don't open climb. Please stay where you are. There we go. Back out. Okay, we'll stop fiddling. Yeah, the biggest gap here is in the automatics, and I'm not surprised. It's a hard part to get right, but this stuff is I suppose it comes from the fact that the MCDU isn't modelled correctly. It looks like an MCDU, but it isn't, and that combined with this means that the modes aren't able to work quite as you'd like. And that's, you know, think how long it's taken fly-by-wire, how much hard work they put in, and they've done an excellent job getting the A320 MCDU and VNAV to work, and it's hard stuff to get right. Right, medium auto brake for sure. We'll go max reverse because we are struggling. It's not going to make much difference on a dry runway, but we are at least getting the runway with a headwind, and that's realistic. The controller would have to, you know, if you ask, that's what you've asked for.
Okay, remaining on Unicom, bye.
Devon says, why do you keep the speed in Mach? Because we're up here, so a Mach number is more appropriate whilst you're climbing and descending, and then you leave it in speed. You don't have to. You could put it into speed up here. It wouldn't make a difference really, but we don't. Everyone flies on Mach, so that everyone can talk to each other. The last Mach number we gave was 7.9, so we're going to keep it there. Skyjohn says, have you flown the flight factor A320? I really want to fly X-Plane 12, but the lack of 320 NEO available is off-putting. We know Toliss will never make one. So has anyone tried the flight factor A320? Thank you for the content. I'm taking my PPL next year. Thanks, John. I've never flown the flight factor A320. V1 Simulations has on his channel. He has comparisons and so on. I've never flown it. I also don't know. I don't know if it's a free upgrade to X-Plane 12, whether you have to pay extra for it. But why? I suppose my question would be, if you're after 320 NEO, it'd be hard not to send you to the A320X at this point. Although the flight factor is probably more complete. It's been around a lot longer. Yeah, tricky one. Good luck with your PPL though. I wish I could help, but I just don't know the flight factor A320 at all. Flight fan says, what did you do to your passengers in Toulouse? We left them there. We had our A319 fell apart on our way to Ibiza, so we left them there a few months ago. Right, let's run through our brief. So that's our arrival. We'll check that. We need to plan our VNAV accordingly based on our track miles to go, but getting the speed back, 210 knots, so we'll be flat 1 or maybe even flat 2 around here. Then we'll join the ILS. 1111, now I shouldn't have to tune it, I'm just hoping it does work, because this doesn't suggest it has worked, and we have no way of seeing that until we get a bit closer. But there you go, we'll keep our fingers crossed. 1111, 061 inbound course, down the ILS, we might well be visual, and then we go MSFS 2,800 feet, climb to 3,000 feet if we get lost, going around to the right over the sea, no surprise there. And fuel-wise, 14 tons, so actually it's under-burning, I would suggest, at the moment. We're not burning much at all. Well, maybe it's about what we expected. We should have burned about 5 tons for this flight. Flight fan says, wonder how much compensation. Indeed, yeah, we were talking about this earlier. 5,000, no doubt. No worries, Skyjohn. Already flies the A320 NX. There you go. Yeah. Decimal 75, Manta 222. Oh, I said that. I'm going to do 76 and tell him.
Stand by Alpine 11 Tango.
Manta 222. Apologies, we can only do 76 as our slowest.
Roger, Mike decimal 76 for now.
76, thank you. We're being very fussy here, but we are completely overloaded. 330, 300. There we go, so that's the approach, landing, go around. Threats here are speed, and I'm going to keep our speed back. Let's go to flat 2 on base leg or an intercept. And the reason I want to do that is so we have time to deal with the inevitable problems trying to make sure the ILS actually appears. I really don't know if it will. If it doesn't, we'll just fly visually and plan our way in as best we can. There's 06 ILS, 2,800 metres. We're going to go medium auto brake, max reverse. Should be good fun. Right. We've got medium auto brake set. Passengers are walking around. I think we're in a relatively good place. Ah, the sun. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah, there's some bug there going on. There's a strange effect in X-Plane at the moment with this like cardboard sort of cloud, so hopefully that improves over time. I'm sure it will. Ready, John says, I'm assuming you're going to show us the 310 when it comes out. Apart from the yoke, are the systems very different from the 508 Airbuses? They are very different, and yes, I will be showing you. Yes, it's nothing like a 320, nothing like it. It's got some, the A310, you know, you'll recognise some things from Airbus. You'll recognise the blue and yellow and the shape of some of the levers and so on. But it's not got the flight control computers. It's not got normal law. It's a more traditional aeroplane. But I can't wait to fly that. Yeah, that must be coming soon, I suppose. That's this month, isn't it? And he says, I have the flight factor 320. It's okay but expensive, and it's the only flight factor aircraft you have to pay to upgrade to X-Plane 12. Really bother with it. There you go. Thanks, Andy. Mr. Banana says A310 is supposed to come out 11th of November. Ah, is it really that soon? Wow. Oh, that's going to be crazy. That's a real impressive thing to include. Right, how many miles have we got? Oh, each from PFD on the ND, sorry. We are 80 miles to there. It's getting close to descent time. Within 120 miles, we are quite high at 37,000, and we're slow. Problem with being slow is if we're kept slow in the descent, the airplane's more efficient. The green dot is its most efficient, so it won't generate much drag, and we'll struggle to get it down. Thanks, Giuseppe. So, sim update. November the 11th, yeah, everyone says that. My goodness, wow. Well, yes, absolutely, I'll be flying that. Matteo's kindly sent me some SOPs that he's made. We've got a checklist as well. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope I have the time.
When ready, descent on level 250, Alpine 11 Tango.
Yeah, I mean, the Beluga is one of my all-time favourite X-Plane add-ons. I'm very upset they aren't bringing it to X-Plane 12, as far as I'm aware, unless anyone's heard different. Right, let's get descent. Manta 222, request descent.
Manta 222, descent flight level 270.
Descent level 270, Manta 222. 270, thrust title open descent. Going back to idle, that's working. Yeah, I'm excited for the 310. I want that Beluga back. I want it in a Microsoft or X-Plane 12. Just give me one of those. I can't fly X-Plane 11 anymore. I'm fully moved over now in my mind to 12 and Microsoft. Quite happy to use either of those. Booty2, that trim says that trim wheel. Good to see you, Booty2. It says the trim wheel has a dance. Surely it doesn't do that. No, it doesn't. No, we talked about that earlier. This is something I need to fix. The real Airbus doesn't trim this aggressively or constantly. It actually flies using the normal flight controls, just like the pilots do. It moves the actual elevators and rudders and spoilers and rolls, and it only trims after it's done that, as it sees it needs to. So yes, the next thing is, we talked earlier about descending in Mach and speed. Something that the BA controller would do is, if they've given you a speed restriction in the descent, they would actually tell you the conversion. So they'll say, descend at decimal 76, convert to 250 would be typical. If they've slowed you down in the cruise, probably 250 in the descent. 270 to 300 is normal. Anything above 300 is fast. So I would expect realistically to have to actually stop accelerating here, because I'm going to make a mess. So I'm going to do that just to help out the controller, as he's handling us very well. I'll just do 260. But like I say, this is very efficient speed, so we will struggle to descend, because here's Ibiza. And we're landing just over here. Reducing speed, we can give you 250 knots, Manta 222.
280 knots is fine for me. 280 knots will be gate.
280 knots, thank you, Manta 222. Oh, that helps us a lot.
Top flight 22 Charlie Delta, convention descending.
Andy says they are starting work. bring it to X-Plane 12. That is great news. Oh yes, please, 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 please. That'd be great.
Thank you.
22 Charlie Delta, descend, flight level 270.
Question there, when the fly-by-wire 380 comes out, we have an in-real-life pilot to help you learn it, like you did with the 787. I will have to start looking. Giuseppe says, I imagine they'll bring it to the Blu-ray, I guess, to Microsoft at some point. He knows where the money is now. Yeah, I mean, if they're doing their 310, I assume they'll, well, hopefully they'll bring it to both.
Alpine 11 Tango, descend
And
now,
then we
flight
can
level 250.
all enjoy it. 'Cause I absolutely love that Beluga. It's such a treat.
Descend now, flight level 250.
Hootie says, I can't fly X-Plane 12 until they fix some things. I'm sticking with the X-Plane 11 for long haulers, 767 and MD-11. Microsoft Flight Simulator for everything else. Fair enough. Totally fair. 1,000 feet to go here.
Idaho 7875, descend 3,000 feet, QNH 10.
Let's start. Totally fair. I've been too pleased with the graphical change into X-Plane 12. Look at that. It's all spot on. And I can't bring myself. No, it's done it again. Look. There it is. Very strange. And there he goes. I think. Oh, I don't know. Is there some thin layer of cloud or something? It's having too much of an effect there. And this is feeling optimistic about the 380.
250, descend, flight level 250.
Vucci 2 says, how big does the sweetener have to be for another live stream on the Toliss 747? How about long haul to celebrate 70k? So I was thinking about that today, that I'd also like to fly the 747-200.
Descend, flight level 250.
Send up with 250, Manta 222. Tell me, does the Toliss work in... let's try vertical speed, see if that works. Vertical speed, minus 100. No, it does. Does the Toliss work in X-Plane 12? Lusto says it must have the altitude of the clouds wrong or something. Yeah, that's it. I think something like that. So yeah, Vucci 2, I would love to fly the Toliss again. I cannot believe how long it's been since we have, frankly. But like I say, issue is if it works in 12. I think it does. I'm thinking it does. Hugo says, did they add a custom MCDU to the 330? No, this is still default. The custom is not here yet. I believe it's on the way. Fuji says, graphics are definitely an upgrade, no doubt about it. But a couple of months will be a big help. Even though planes are compatible with X-Plane 12, they still feel different. There you go. Right turn to Negre. Manta 222. Direct. Negre. That's what we're doing basically. There we go. Doing 1,000 feet a minute, quite nice.
Alpine 11 Tango, proceed direct to dot.
Just like doing the 747-200 from Microsoft. Ah, are they? I didn't know that.
Alpine 11 Tango.
Hotel Barcelona identified, climb flight level 300. Reply 100 hotel.
Fuji celebrating because finally cracked the DME dual updating. I'm not sure if I even did that on when I flew the Toliss. But if we did a long haul, we'd have plenty of time to get it working, I suppose. So 60 miles.
Something
like what, 210, Manta 222. 210. Now, what's going on here is quite common. This is 500 minute. Yes, 500 blue 210. So what's going on here is we've got traffic in front of us and we're being restricted because of that. Totally fine. Busy airports is what it's like. Now we've got 60 miles, 70, 80. So we've got about 80 miles to go. We need 75 miles if I do 25 times 3, plus another 10 to slow down to 85. So we're actually about on profile for 3 degrees. What's happening is we're constantly being staggered in our descent because of what's going on beneath us. And sometimes there's nothing you can do if this starts to happen, what you can do is slow down if you're not getting the descent you want. So you could ask a traffic as you level off, can we slow down? And then when you're released to descend, you could accelerate to dive down. Things like that. But yeah, this happens when aircraft in front aren't flying the same sort of vertical profile as you. If it's a different type of airplane, or even just a different weight or cost index, it will be different. But we had no trouble here. I think we're pretty much on. The reality is that's actually, instead of 10 miles, what's that? That's about 40 miles. So actually, I would not expect to fly that in real life, so I would get down and be ready to intercept. But in this case today, we are going to pass that, I think. Well, we'll see what the controller does actually. Really, we should be ready to cut that short and go straight into Osnabrück or something like that. So that wasn't Ibiza, that was Palma we were looking at, yeah. Over there. That's Palma Airport in the gap there. There's Ibiza. So we'll gently descend for now. Ibiza approach online, says Maxwell. Excellent.
134825, Alpine 11 Tango.
Hootie says, how are you liking the GUI changes to YouTube? Yeah, I'm not sure about it yet. I'm not sure. It's, to be honest, not too much change for me because I use Streamlabs to stream, so I can't actually see. And the YouTube Studio has stayed pretty much the same as well. So that's good. But yeah, that's not changed too much for me. But I'm not sure as a viewer experience. I don't know. I suppose it's up to you guys. What do you think of it? 135-825, Manta 222. Thanks for your help. Goodbye.
Sorry, the frequency 134-825.
Apologies, 134-825, Manta 222. Bye. 13. So what happens is, it's funny, in real life, if the other pilot is kind enough to set the frequency for you, and they change it too quickly, you can miss those sorts of calls. Ruti 2, thank you so much for the £20 super chat. That's very, very kind. Ruti says, start with the sweetener package for 70k subs. Great stream as always. Thank you so much, Ruti. Really very kind. As ever, thank you for your hard work in being a part of the community here and continuing to fly along with us. And thank you for so kindly contributing towards the channel so much. Really, really very kind. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ruti. Yeah. And yeah, if we get to 70k, I mean, I've totally missed 60k. I feel terrible about that, but we will. Where are we at? We're at 68 something. Let me just check in with approach. What we did? Actually, we need to get the weather. Early IB 80s. Right. That's embarrassing. I just disconnected by accident.
Good evening.
Okay.
We are holding to runway 06 on Ibiza. Okay, lot 531. I have just opened my controller.
Okay, here we go. So, they've got information alpha, no surprise there.
Are you ready for your clearance?
Altitude 06.
Yes, we are ready.
Headwind on approach, 22 degrees, QNH crucially at 1021. So nice day, nice headwind, transition over 70. Information alpha, great. But thank you again, Booty, for the very kind donation. Glad you're enjoying the stream. It's good to see you. Cotton Cuddle says, is the 330 much alike to the Phoenix? No, it's just not at that level, not even close. But some great parts to it, but yeah, not even close. I'm flying it here today so that, you know, maybe someone watches along and knows, or maybe I should bother to fill it in bug report. Maybe that's what I should do instead of making a video.
Hello, radar, good day. Top flight 22 Charlie Delta, this is flight number 210.
Oh, this control is even quieter. Why can't I hear anybody?
Runway 06, descend off the 26, flight of the QNH 102.
Oh, yeah, let's get down.
Top flight 22 Charlie Delta.
Letha, good day. Manta 222 descending flight level 210 to Old Pam. 330, 300 with information alpha.
Lima control identified. Expect ILS Zulu, runway 06, descend fly level 80 for the moment, and expect the vectors.
Thank you. Expect ILS 06, descend flight level 80, Manta 222. Don't level off airplane, we're going down. There we go. 80. Expect vectors for the ILS 06, that's fine. So that's just a clue that we're not going to fly that full arrival, so we do need to get the height off.
080 degrees 6 and knots, runway 06, clear for takeoff.
Ah, but it has stayed in that star. The real aircraft would have reverted to vertical speed if that happened. If it's in that star and you change the altitude, it goes to VS. And for Manta 222, is there any speed control for us?
Yes, please reduce speed to maximum 200 knots, please.
200 is below our minimum clean. Is it possible we can keep 230?
Then 230 is okay, thank you.
230 knots, Manta 222, thank you. I don't even know if we can do 230. Now, this gets really awkward. So we get ourselves high. I'm reducing to 230. That is okay, actually. That was a good guess. It's just above green dot, so that's fine. The problem is now...
Correction, 110 degrees.
Left heading 110 degrees, Manta 222. Heading 110.
To fly to Charlie Delta, please reduce speed to 220 knots.
Now that's unusual. Obviously trying to put a big brake in. So if we use the speed brakes now in the real aircraft, VLS would actually come up through green dot. So you get, if you have to go slow like this, you'll get high, and then you can't use the speed brakes because you're slow. It's a compounding problem. It just gets worse. And here's where it explained to me, this is where it falls down right now. Yeah, look, I think this is clouds casting a shadow on the sun that shouldn't be. That's quite a sight. Wow. I'd be a bit nervous if I saw that out the window. Anyway, speed brakes away because we're about to... We might be going south of the airfield. Other than the MTDU, how is the default 330? It's got some good things. It's the autopilot that's a complete mess. Some of the handling's nice. They just need to sort out this sort of jittery trimming and jittery controls. It's not been too bad on this flight, but you can still... No, there's its... Look at that rudder. Yeah, 200 knots clean for even a 320 is not guaranteed. That would be potentially too slow. Looks like a supernova instead of the sun. Yeah, it really does.
Roger, continue present speed and top line 50 Charlie Delta.
Yeah. That doesn't like the end of the world.
Flight to Charlie Delta, are you able to reduce to 200 knots?
Look at this texturing though. Really nice.
And negative, top line 50 Charlie Delta.
Right, well I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here. That's where we're going.
And top line 50 Charlie Delta.
I'm hoping we'll go round like that and in.
Okay, thank you.
The Black Hole from Interstellar. Yes, Mike. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Fly says nuclear explosion. Yeah. That's getting screenshotted.
By 11 Tango, turn right, heading 250.
Heading 250 degrees, Alpine 11 Tango.
So our colleague in front is now going back the other way. So it might be that we're just going to go back north and in. Who knows? Very busy. Daniel B says, I'm using flap 1 to maintain 200. Yeah, so I refused. I didn't. You can only refuse so much, but I specifically warned them I don't want to put out flap 1. Also, we were actually too high to do it originally. We were very high, so we couldn't have done it. But yeah, pilots will go to great lengths. I mean, flap 1, frankly, you put the slats out, it gives you more margin, and it's unlikely to cause much extra drag. So yeah, not really an issue just doing that. Wiggling its tail because it's out of the shed again, says Evos. Yeah, yeah, maybe that's it. Ruchi2 says, do you now know by heart what the descent rates are for a given target height and distance? I don't do it on descent rates, I just do it on distances. Descent rates work for an angle, but some pilots use descent rates. Right heading 232 degrees, Manta 222. Not ideal. Still, we have 13 tons of fuel, so this is actually helping us get back to a proper landing weight, maybe, so I won't complain too much. I was hoping to land with the sun still around. Yeah, Pete, we've been trying to work out the answer to that question. Yikes.
The 531, can you repeat? Not a 531, climb and fly level 140.
Okay, yeah, no, that's right, that's a downwind, that's fine.
140, lot 521.
Our colleague could be there, but he's making life difficult because he's got traffic to the north as well as departing. So if we're going to do this and pass a beam on this side, the airport's here, it's a bit muddled in there, the go-round should be blue, or even not showing at this point, frankly. But if we go beam the airfield, I want to be about 7,000 feet, no higher at beam. That's about 15 miles to a beam. Maybe, yeah, might as well round it to 20. So I need to lose about 4,000 feet. So we're about on profile for 3 degrees, so just keep it in idle. Do 1,200 feet per minute with a ground speed of 250. We're not quite doing 3 degrees. But we are back on the speed already. Let's see what happens. Thank you again, Ruchi2, for the kind donation, and thank you to Odu for the follow. They are landing 06 in Ibiza. Good. So we are recreating properly. There you go. The sun's back to reflecting. Look at the fuselage. Just lovely. Oh dear. Yeah, okay, we're doing fine. Let's get the LS on. My next concern is how on earth we're going to get it to fly and approach.
Top flight to Charlie Delta, please reduce speed 200 knots.
Slider says, is that call sign NTX MXZ? Ruchi says, glad I'm hanging on. Right heading 260, Manta 222. Sorry, can you confirm that was for Mike X-Ray Zulu 222 heading 260 degrees? 260, Manta 222. 260, okay. I'm not sure what the route would be from here, but we shall see. Good work. Could go from here and then onto an inset, yeah. So the best thing, if we're not sure, the best trick is get yourself in a place where you know what's going on. So I'm going to get myself low enough that we can deal with whatever he gives us. Often controllers will tell you what they're doing, so they'll say you're going to approach from the south or whatever, but not always. Sometimes this happens. In progress features tuning lights and fog. Ah, there we go. Yeah, the lighting does need tuning. Because in particular the airplane's been blocked out a lot of the sunlight. Now, this is another thing. Storm, okay, so those are just the integral lights. Sorry, the floodlights. I don't know what's controlling these lights here in this aircraft. PFD dimmer works.
Flight to Charlie Delta, right on heading 240.
Right, 240, top line 22 Charlie Delta.
Ah, there we go, okay. So they are controlled by the floodlights, but they seem to also be influenced by this switch up here. Not sure why, but there we go, I'll leave it on so you can see. He told me I'd approach from the south. Oh, there you go, Daniel. Oh, maybe I missed it. I am having trouble with my audio. Landing the 330 then. We're going to make up the approach speeds based on this. I'm thinking about 145 flat full. Maybe 140. We'll reduce it to just above VLS basically. And we'll use all the automatics we can. Max reverse on landing. Flaring slightly before 30 feet, I suppose, in bigger, heavier aircraft. That's what I can think of, really. Right, approach it. Let's get the landing lights on. Seatbelts on. Approach checklist briefing confirmed. Decam status is checked. Seatbelts are on. Barra ref. Well, we're at level 80, so we can't. Oh, okay, we can't do that checklist thing. We'll have to wait.
Max is 222, descent altitude 5,000, which is 1021.
Descent altitude 5,000 feet on QNH 1021. Answer 222. Thank you. Sometimes you would honestly think controllers can hear in the flight deck and know what you're asking for. It does happen like that quite a lot. I suppose it's because we all think of the same thing at the same time. But that was quite funny because it's specifically the checklist I was trying to do. There we go. Right, 1021. 1021, sensible QNH, and it's what we were thinking we'd have. So, let's check this again. Approach checklist is briefing confirmed, decam status checked, seatbelts are on, barra ref QNH 1021. Minimums we haven't got in, but we're visual ready. And engine start, we're going to leave it norm. Let's approach it complete.
11 Tango, right heading 330.
Heading 330 degrees, Alpine 11 Tango.
That is on ILS. Doesn't look like anything's tuned. This is not reassuring me. I'm going to delete.
Charlie Delta, descent altitude 3,000.
Oh, it's like a Boeing, yes. Invalid delete. Oh, no.
9322, left heading 240.
Left heading 240, Atlanta 222. That's good. That gives me time to argue with the McDo. What's going on? Let me delete these points, please. We're not going there. Where's Demev? It won't let me delete the current 2 points. Yeah, two approaching from the same. Look at that. 6,000 feet, we're doing it right. Speed's back, energy's good. It's working out how I wanted. Evening test pilot could see. No worries being made. Cotton Colours looking forward to a 330 Microsoft Flight Simulator. Aren't Aerosoft working on that? I don't know. I'm a bit out of date with add-ons at the moment, I'm afraid. But thanks for joining us. Right. Oh, something's gone very dark. Yeah, definitely some tweaks to be done on the lighting here. So we're waiting really to go to one of these points and in for the ILS. There we are. I'm hoping when I do that, the airplane will somehow wake up and tune the ILS. How do you direct Demev?
Alpine 11 Tango fully established.
Aha! 1111-061. Shouldn't have to do this, but we're going to.
Clear to land 06 Alpine 11 Tango.
What do you mean about entry? Send 3,000 feet. Manta 222. 3,000 feet. Side open descent. We're doing a vertical speed now. I want a bit more control actually over what we're doing. Let's do 800 feet per minute. Vertical speed, down to 3,000. Some airplanes zooming around. Right, well we know it's tuned at least. 0611111. Let's see if it ever identifies. There it is. India Bravo India 110. 01 it says, but we know that's not true. India Bravo India. Good. Okay, that's a relief. That's a relief. Again, don't have to do that in the real aircraft. Evening, nice rest. I hope you're doing well. A lot of people think it looks like a nuclear incident of some variety. Yes, the clouds have sort of it's got a very Halloween feel to it. Suddenly, oh dear. Right, well we're 14 miles away from the airfield at 4,000 feet. We're plenty low. Graham, good to see you. Graham says, just joined. Thanks for the stream. Not biased in any way, but my actual flight simulator looks much better than this. There you go. This is, yeah, this was, you know, our last stream of this. Right in 330 degrees, Manta 222. 330. Yeah, our last stream of this, it looked very pretty. I didn't want to fly it at night, but this is where we're ending up. 30 degrees is a bit steep. I wouldn't expect it to do that unless it was trying to intercept a localizer, frankly. But I'm slightly disappointed today with some of the lighting. It's. I think there's some bugs. There, well, clearly there's some bugs. It's something with the way the shadows are being cast, because it covered the airplane in shadow too early, and now the clouds look utterly miserable. Nice, I said, just at the meeting with our supplier, we presented some ACMS to ACAR's comms. Like simulation, very good. Daniel B says, I love the Phoenix no longer dive bombs on Flat 3. Indeed, do check out my channel. We have the, well, you know my channel, but I have a video up about the latest update to the Phoenix, including landing in a crosswind. You can finally land in a crosswind. Hooray, excellent. It feels great. It looks really good. Very happy with it. Riding 030, cleared out S06, Zulu, Manta 222. No. No. Don't know what happened there. 030. I'm going to start slowing down. Let's go flaps 1. Let's bring the speed back. 16 miles out, but it's just going to help us out a bit here. Engines coming back. That's good. Now we're going to go right through the localizer. That's my... I say my fault. That's... I'm playing the airplane. But I'm going to just do a self sort of intercept from the other side. Green dot should disappear, but it doesn't matter. Right. I'm just going to turn pointing towards it. I don't trust it enough at this point to let it do that itself. From 3,000 feet, intercepting at 9 miles, that's about 6 miles, so we've got plenty of time. Like I say, we're very low, we just didn't know what was going on here.
Alpine 11 Tango.
Right, arm approach, checking autopilot. It does work, AP1 plus 2, 152, that's cool. Glide slope localizer blue, looking good so far. There's the runway. Now I did want to, what was I going to do? I don't like having, we're going to do that for the landing. More realistic.
Charlie Alpha stand 28, Alpine 11 Tango.
Getting those high here. Come on, localizer, turn towards it please. What are you doing? There we go. Normally when it goes lock star it turns straight away. It saves the lock star thing until it actually starts to turn. But again, these are small details. Shows you how good things like the Phoenix and Toliss and fly-by-wire are at this point. That all this stuff just works as expected. There's traffic in front of us indeed. Right. Looking good. We will have a replay later. So despite the wobbling, it does still work. The autopilot has got us this far. And it's only misbehaved properly that one time so far. We shall see what happens now. There's a glide slope. Let's go to flaps. Oh, we're a bit fast actually. My mistake. Speed brakes out. That's simply because we are very heavy. This is effectively an overweight landing for a 330.
Please reduce speed to 160 knots until mile 4, please.
160 to 4, Manta 222. Interesting. So a reduction and a hold the speed. So let's go flap 2. Get the drag out. Ah, there is flap relief. There you go. Ah, but we were below the dash lines, so to me that said it was alright. But if we look up here, flap 2 is 196, so no, we were fast. There it comes. Interesting. Now, I don't know how that system works. That's different to the 320. Right, we'll just put in 160. He wants 160 to 4. We've got speed brakes and flaps out. Now the full aileron's working, you see. Now we're at slower speeds with the flaps out. It is gradually reducing. VLS is high, so if I
A322, please minimum speed approach. Thank you.
minimum approach speed, and to 222. Alright, easy then, gear down. But interestingly, the VLS was working there, which is pretty great. So we'll put those up. We're coming back to our minimum speed. Flaps to 3. Shouldn't say flaps to 3. And flaps full. $140. $140. Right. And the checklist. Cabin crew are advised. Yep, the auto thrust is in speed. It's even gone to final lap. Too early, way too early. Auto brake is medium. Eco memo, landing their blue. Traffic in front vacated. Loads of room. Loads of room. Are they in a heavy as well? Looks like it. Looks like a 340. Suddenly gone very dark.
Mike 222, expect a later clearance for landing.
Cockpit man to 222. So there is things they can do here, like a land after, but that wouldn't really work between two long-haul aircraft like this. Now, I think the auto thrust won't disconnect properly. Nice West says, how often do you get these short flaps over speed warning in real life? No, you don't. You shouldn't do if you're flying it properly. Very rare. You'd hope. I don't think the auto thrust disconnected.
Wind is 080 degrees, 6 knots, runway 06, clear to land.
Good land 06, man to 222, thank you. Right, flaring at 40, my excuse. It's too late for the excuses. But yeah, I think when I idle, the auto thrust doesn't turn off, so I'm going to have to do that myself. But I do have the button assigned, so we'll see if I can make that work. Otherwise we'll be floating down the whole runway, which happened in my preview video, or my first video with the X-Plane 12. Good. So, we're all set. Here we are. All the dangly bits are out. Look at that rudder working away. Yeah. Autopilot off. Yeah, no warning sound. Sensible pitch though, 2.5 degrees, 140 knots, just 5 knots above VLS, all about what you'd expect in the 320. Yeah, I can feel it twitching now. It's a shame. That is a shame. 50, 40, 30, 20, idle. Retard, 10, 5. Hold it there. There we go. Max reverse. Oh, nose comes down a bit hard. First green, decel, idle reverse. Manual brakes. That's worked just fine. Forward idle. Oh, don't stop at the runway, please. Turn off. Oh no. It's for some reason it turns on the brakes, the park brake, when you stop like that. Right, let's get going. I think we're last to the ground though. That's worked out. And there we go. Welcome to Ibiza. We finally made it. A few months later. Right, we'll take the next exit. Love the strobe lights. Looking really good. Yeah, the brakes will be hard after that. And the US landing clearance has more conditions than one of my estimates. Excellent work from the controller there. Kept us all separate. Yeah, clearly some bugs to the lighting as it goes to dusk. Beautiful in daylight though, I've got to say. Yeah, that was not ideal stuff. Yeah, the auto brake drives you to a stop and then seems to set the brake, which is not what we need to do. Good job we weren't in front of the other aircraft. Now, why is this camera so... Ah, there we go. That's what I wanted. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Michael 222, welcome to Ibiza, taxi V Alpha, stand 27.
Thanks so much for your help. We'll take Alpha, stand 27, Manta 222. Good night. Great work by the controller. Really nice. Right. I didn't bother with the parking chart because we never normally get that far. And now I'm regretting it. Parking chart. There we go. Alpha for 27. Come on, airplane. I know you're overweight. 27's in the middle of the terminal. Very nice stand. Alpha, so we're on Foxtrot, I think. And there's Alpha straight in front of us. Another thing, this is default air stands, default scenery, and it just works. So we're going in Alpha and then along and then back over to our stands. And there's our, is that a 340, 600 that landed in front of us? Right. Oh, we didn't put the nose gear lights on. We'll forgive ourselves that one. Strobe lights off. Ground spoilers. Disarm. Flaps to 0. APU to come. Huge advantage for me as a streamer is that it has a replay tool. I absolutely love it. It works really well. X-Plane 12 is what simulator we are using today. Oh, they're a bit closer than I thought. What do you respond to ATC when they say you're number 2? Copied. Roger. Do you repeat it? You only have to you have to read back clearances. If they say you're number 2, you can just say Roger. If they ask you to report something, you can just say Wilco. That driver was brave, Alan. Indeed. Yeah. Never. Calling flight simulators a game to serious flight simmers is always a recipe for trouble. But totally understandable. Yeah. No, this is it's the thing with X-Plane. This is why people are still here. You know. Yeah, don't look there. Look here. Yeah, it's the that database where people have made the scenery work for each. I mean, it's just brilliant, isn't it? Like, I can just arrive in Ibiza with no payware at all, and it looks this good. And there's a beautiful old 747-400 in the old cafe livery. But to have all the taxiway markings, the lights, it's a treat. Here's our stats. Having said that, there is a bug today at Ibiza. Right, turning on to stand, lights off. APU is available. 11 tons, yeah, so we had 17. Oh, we burned 5 tons then. So, to be fair, it sort of matched Livery. Oh no. We've no, I totally misjudged that. I don't know how to taxi a 330. That should be becoming obvious at this point. Yeah, we've been told we are gonna have to finance a new tail on that 340 sitting over. Cheating. If I was a passenger, I'd be very relieved I was on the ground after this taxi in. Oh dear. Airbus says, good landing, getting the feel of sailing spurred on strike. Yeah, it felt alright. Definitely a little bit late. We could have fled a bit earlier, I think, and got a bit more out of it. Teased it on a little better, but there we go. AP is available. Parking brake is now set. It's not showing a set, but it is set on there. There's something going on between the brakes here. Right, let's shut it down. Oh look, they've got a little screen that turns on. How good's that? And beacon off. There we go. Welcome to Ibiza. Thank you all for flying along. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to those of you who flew along with us as well. Great fun. And thank you to those controllers. I'm just going to disconnect from Maxim. And I hope you've all enjoyed it. Jeffy says we have different definitions of looking good. So it's there's something about X-Plane. You can hear the engine spooling down there. I don't know what it is. There's something about it that does work, I think. I can totally see how on a stream this doesn't look hugely impressive, but when you're using it, for me, and this is entirely personal, I'm not going to sit here and suggest everybody should get this if they already have Microsoft Flight Simulator, but there's something about it that it does get right, and I don't know whether that's the handling or what it is. I don't know, but the visuals have certainly they've come to a point where they're not distractingly bad, to put it that way. It now looks eye pleasing enough for me, and I can enjoy it. Part of that, I suppose, is just because I like aeroplanes too much. So you put a load of aeroplanes in front of me with reflections and things, and I'll like it, whether or not there's better versions out there. Because, you know, people play flight sims on their phone, don't they? So I don't know if that's part of the reason, but we've got this great compatibility with Avitab and better pushback and so on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things develop with the simulator. They've got to sort out this lighting, got to sort out some of the bugs on the 330. But overall, we've just flown the 330 on VATSIM. First time I've flown it a full sector with a route in the MCDU and so on. Yes, MCDU is hopeless. It's nothing like the real one. But it worked. We managed. We had flap relief. We had systems pages. We had APU bleed. So I'm genuinely, and I'm not saying this, I don't have any connection to X-Plane at all. Nobody at X-Plane has sent this. I bought this for myself and everything like that. So there's entirely my opinions on it. But for a default aircraft, this is a surprisingly good one at this stage. It's not usable. Don't get that impression. I've flown it on stream just to see what we could find out. And for me, the big things are that ridiculous wobble. We've got to get rid of that. I hope they can fix that soon. And the automatics are not behaving. It's just not. It doesn't respond like you'd expect. Sometimes it does a pretty close job, but not always. However, graphics, visual model, brilliant. Doesn't need to be touched at all. I think they've done a fantastic job on that. Nostalgia, says Kelpie. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. Okay, replay coming. So here's another great feature, of course, of X-Plane 11. I can just rewind it, and it will not only put it back, but it will even put the flaps, the spoilers out. Just great. Oh no, forwards please. Now this is no good. I'm not happy with this. So let's just get some light so I can actually see what's going on. I have not flown Headwind 330, might be. No, is that the freeware for Microsoft Flight Simulator? Thanks, E-Boss. Glad you enjoyed it. Amine says, are you hyped about 40th anniversary? Oh dear. Well, that is the end of that. I spent so much time hyping up the replay, and that's what I get. We are using a beta here, so unfortunately we will not get a replay of that landing because I spent too much time talking about it. But there we go. So on that bombshell, I'm afraid that's the end of the stream. Ah, dear. It's like your PC heard you play a joke. Yeah, so I don't think there's any way to get the replay back now. I can only apologise. This is a beta. It's an early access, so this is going to happen. We just flew a full sector and it didn't crash, but I was being too quick with the replay. So yeah, we had, over the years of streaming, we've had crashes in both simulators. So X-Plane 11 crashed just as much as Microsoft, if not more. So it's it's no surprise that a beta version would have eventually run into trouble. But still, I think takeaways are, I see myself using X-Plane 12 as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator in the future. Put it that way. I don't think I'm going to walk away from it. I think I'll be using it. I think it's looking nice, and there's some nice details to it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the moderators for looking after us. Thanks for those chatting along. Thanks for those flying along. And thank you, of course, to those who very kindly donated. I'm so sorry. This is going to be a very anticlimactic ending. We're not going to have a music, and we're not going to have a replay. So all I'll say is have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you in the next stream soon. I have another video coming to the channel. We have another challenging approach coming soon. We're going to be dealing with Nice. That video coming very soon onto the channel. If you haven't seen it, I've already got a video up about the Phoenix update if you're interested in that. Right, do have a great evening, and apologies for this ending. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you, bye-bye.